Welcome students, teachers, and parents. This is our second annual college admission panel. Really excited to be able to have this opportunity to come together and with students from grades 8 through grade 11 to hear from our distinguished guests. And this morning we're going to be hearing from each of the admission officers about their specific institution, in addition to hearing a topic from your questions that you developed in advisory last week. Looking for the opportunity for you to hear what schools are evaluating you on, what they're looking for when you submit your college admission packets. And for the juniors, this is very timely as we're coming up on the end of your junior year, getting ready for senior year. But I also feel it's timely for 8th graders as they're finishing their 8th grade career and getting ready to start building their high school program. So with no further ado, I'm going to welcome our representative from Northwest Connecticut Community College to begin.
Hi, thank you. Good morning. I hope that you are all doing well. My job is for this morning is to give you an indication of what the application process and what other processes there are to attending community college. Northwestern Connecticut Community College. We are, it depends upon whether you're driving or flying, I guess. We're 40 minutes from, I don't know, 40 minutes to 3 hours away. Let's see. We're a small college. We have about 1,700 students. Just a couple of basic things. We don't offer housing because most of our students are students who are working in addition. Many of our students are older students. Many have children. But we have a very wide range of ages in our class. If you were to come to our school to take the class, and I encourage everybody, if you're a junior or a sophomore, you can apply to the high school partnership program, where you can take one free class at Northwestern that, depending upon your grade in the class, is transferable to most colleges. And you can do that, you can take up to 2 per semester. If you were to do that for the 2 years, you could have 24 credits. The best part, it's free, except for books and getting there. Let's see. One thing that's really important, and I encourage you to keep this in mind, is that you and your parents, and for parents, you and your children, guardians, children, right now, you may not realize it and you might not even feel like it, but you're a team. And you're actually working together in the long run to do the best for your child and you for your parents. Just like any team in professional sports, for example, not everybody on the team necessarily loves each other every day, all the time, and you have disagreements, but remember, you're both working to better yourselves and to grow and become better people. I'll pass it on.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley and I am an admissions counselor with Sacred Heart University. So we're located in Fairfield, Connecticut. We're about an hour away from here. Our total population is about 7,200 students. Our undergrad is 4,200. This year we had our largest freshman class at 1,400 students. Our classes, they're primarily capped at 30 students per class, so the average class size can be around 22 students per class, so it's kind of the same size of a high school classroom. We are a D1 school, so we have 26 D1 sports. We have 24 club level sports, so I have to say they're comparable to a D3 school. sports team. We have a lot of new buildings that are happening. We just completed our brand new business and communication school, which opened 2 weekends ago. In 2017, we're adding a brand new health professions building. So for nurses, physical therapy, and occupational therapy, you have a brand new home awaiting your arrival. We are building new housing on campus because of the large number of students that have decided to come to Sacred Heart, so there are new housing being built that will be ready by next year. We at Sacred Heart, we're very community-based. When you walk around the school, you see people, they say hello to you, they smile, they hold doors, and those little random acts of kindness go a long way. And at Sacred Heart, we really want you to open up and try new things, try a different sport, maybe try a new organization. We have 80 different organizations and clubs on campus. We have a study abroad program, so there really are opportunities for you, and you have support throughout the entire university. And one of the topics that I was asked to discuss today was the college essay, what to write about it. Myself and all my colleagues, I'm sure, can vouch that we read hundreds of essays every year. And you want to be able to write an essay that you are passionate about, something you truly love, that makes us want to read your entire essay, that you have us hooked from the moment we start reading it. Because we do remember those essays from way back when and the ones that really stand out. Also, proofread. That's the number one thing that I can really stress, because especially Sacred Heart, we get a lot of scared hearts from students, so definitely proofread, have other people read your essays, because they're going to help you throughout the entire process, as well as write something that makes you happy. We don't want to hear depressing stories. We have all gone through that. We want to see who you are as a person, because at Sacred Heart, that's the first thing we look at. We read your essay first, and then we read your rest of your application process.
Good morning. My name is Jared Saunders. I'm Senior Assistant Director of Admissions at UMass Amherst. We're about 2 hours or so from here in the western part of Massachusetts, about an hour north of Hartford. We're a pretty good sized state university, about 21,000 undergraduates. We have about 100 or so majors, hundreds of clubs and activities to keep you busy outside of the classroom, Division I sports, all the sort of big school experiences that you may hear about or see on TV. And actually, it's funny you talk about the Scared Heart. When I was a little kid, there was an elementary school in my town called Sacred Heart, and I used to think it was Scared Heart. Like, why would anyone want to go there? It's kind of funny to say that. But yeah, so UMass Amherst, there are a lot of different options in terms of what you can major in, what you can do outside of the classroom. In terms of the makeup of the school, most of our students, probably about 75% or so, come from the state of Massachusetts, but about 25% come from out of state. Many of them come from Connecticut. It's one of our biggest out-of-state states, along with New York and New Jersey and other northeastern states. California is a big state for us. We do recruit nationally. We get students from all over the country. All 50 states are represented in our student body. The town that we're in is Amherst. It's considered one of the better college towns in the country, not only because of what we bring to the table, but we're actually part of a consortium of colleges called the 5 colleges, where students can take courses and use the resources of 4 other schools that are around UMass. So you have Smith, Mount Holyoke, Amherst, and Hampshire colleges, so you can take up to 2 classes per semester on those other campuses, use their libraries, things like that. There's a free bus system that connects all of us, so it's very much a college community made up of 5 colleges. So one of the things that I've been told to speak about today was housing, particularly housing for freshmen and just housing options and things like that. And I mentioned where we are in terms of the college town and things like that, because as you look at different colleges, you'll see that they're located in different types of locales, okay? Some of them are going to be in very rural areas, some of them are going to be in cities, some of them are right around the corner and they're close to where you live. So, you know, a lot of different options in terms of where you might want to go to school. And as you look at different options, you know, the housing is going to come into play, sometimes depending on what type of environment the school is in. Sometimes when you look at a school that's in a large city, for example, they may not have much on-campus housing available, but they'll have lots of options off-campus because they're in a city and there are lots of apartments and things like that in the area. We happen to be in a college town, so, and we're in Western Massachusetts, which in a lot of ways kind of looks like around here, except that because of the colleges, You find a lot of things that you find in a city, but in a small town setting. I always say it's like taking a chunk of Boston and putting it out in Western Massachusetts. You find a lot of the amenities and things like that you find in the city, but in our small town in Western Mass. So most of our students actually live on campus, okay? More than half of them, probably about 14,000 or so, live on campus. And then those who don't live off campus, most of them live right around the campus. There's lots of off-campus housing available. So we don't have a lot of students that commute from home for our situation, which lends itself to really making a great sort of college atmosphere. Because most people live there, they join clubs, they get to know one another, they stick around on weekends, they follow the sports teams. So it's really a great sort of college atmosphere, college community. So freshmen at UMass, freshmen are required to live on campus, therefore we guarantee housing for that first year. After that, it's not necessarily guaranteed, but we do have enough housing to meet the demand for students who want to live on campus all 4 years. As you're looking at different colleges, you also want to find out, is housing guaranteed? Do I have to live on campus for the first year or for the first 2 years or what have you? So some schools are going to guarantee housing all 4 years. Some of them, like in our case, will only guarantee it for a year. So, it's another thing to consider as you're looking at different schools. So we have lots of on-campus and off-campus options. Because of freshmen are required to live on campus, we do guarantee housing for that first year. Then when the students do decide to move off campus, they can live in the different apartments around the campus. We also have apartments and suites right on our campus for upper class students. So your freshmen are going to live in traditional housing, your traditional dorm where you live usually in a double, on a shared hallway with a shared bathroom, shared lounge, that type of thing, kind of the thing you see on TV or in the brochures, that sort of thing. And then as you go into sophomore, junior, senior year, you're going to live in the larger sort of the suites and the apartments. Freshman housing is generally divided into different types of theme housing. So you can choose, and you'll find this at a lot of colleges, you can choose different types of housing in terms of the themes when you come in as a freshman. You can choose a theme that's based on lifestyle, or you can choose one that's based on academics. And that's probably the most popular option. So if you decide you want to major in biological sciences, pre-med, things like that, you can live among other students who have those same interests. You can also live with students who are writers or who are interested in business or what have you. So a lot of different choices there. So there are a lot of different housing options available. And as you look at different colleges, you're going to want to look into those. And that's about it really in terms of housing. And of course, if you have questions later on, I'll be happy to answer more. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Becky Tynan. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission down at Yale. We're about 45 minutes southeast of here. And we are a medium-sized research university. So we have about 5,400 undergraduates who make up about half of our total student body at the university. Have another 5,500 or so graduate students who populate our 13 graduate and professional schools on campus as well. And we do draw our students nationally and internationally. So we have students coming from all 50 states, from about 80 different countries around the world. And our students are, as undergraduates at Yale College, are in a medium-sized liberal arts college experience. So what that means is that being a liberal arts college, we focus on wanting to make sure that all of our students have strong depth and breadth to their education in college. And so what we do to orchestrate that is that we do have a group of requirements that students take during their freshman and sophomore year, really across the board, from the humanities to the social sciences to the natural sciences. And so we want students to have that strong foundation in their first couple of years, and then students actually choose their major by the end of their sophomore year. There are about 80 different majors and programs that we offer. So students have time to get their feet wet a bit and test out different opportunities before they're choosing their eventual major. More than half of our students typically change their mind from what they may put on their initial application to Yale as their academic interest and what they eventually end up choosing as their major. That's something that we actually are quite proud of. We think we have a lot of really great academic opportunities that students may not have been exposed to in high school that they can really explore when they get to college. So we're looking for students who are going to be excited about keeping an open mind, expanding their horizons a little bit in terms of their academic interests. But that's what the liberal arts piece of things means, is that we are expecting that students will dabble a bit really across the board academically, but then as they choose their major and get into their junior and senior year, they really dive in deeply to a particular area that they're majoring in and become expert in that area. One of the things that's a little bit different about Yale is the way that our students live. We have a group of 12 residential colleges, and so what we do is assign students as freshmen to one of these colleges, and they actually stay in that residential environment for all 4 years of their Yale experience, and so they become part of that home base. Students are assigned randomly to their residential college, and so each one is meant to be a cross-section and a really full mix of the student body in general. So students are coming from all around the world, as I said. They're bringing their variety of academic interests with them, a variety of extracurricular interests, their own personal backgrounds to share, and so that makes for a very lively and interesting home environment for our students, and it makes a larger place feel much smaller. So each of the residential colleges has about 400 or 450 students there, and so that makes a much more bite-sized chunk of the student body to get to know, rather than 5,400 undergraduates or 11,000 students in the university as a whole. I'd say our students tend to be very active outside of the classroom. Obviously, the academics are the focus, but there are over 500 different student clubs and organizations on campus, everything from varsity sports to club sports to publications, the student newspaper, and a variety of magazines on campus, student government opportunities, a lot of service, things like the Anti-Gravity Society. They'll teach you to juggle just about anything that you could want to juggle. So a pretty good variety. Our students tend to have a good sense of humor, which we appreciate. And so that, I think, is, I guess, the thumbnail sketch of life at Yale. And the piece of things, sort of from our talking points that I'm going to cover, is talking about the application outside of the academic credentials that a student is bringing to the table. And I think, first of all, I'd actually like to ask a question. How many of you are excited about going to college and the opportunities there? A good number? Anyone nervous about this process or going forward? A few, much more excitement. I like that. So I think my feeling with this, I think I could probably speak for my colleagues as well, is that we hope that this process is more exciting than it is scary or anxiety causing. I mean, there's so many great opportunities that you'll obviously hear about today just on this panel, but even out there further among colleges and universities. And so I hope that you maintain that excitement. And that's something that we're looking for in our applicants. I think it goes without saying that for any college or university, we are looking for students who have done well in the classroom, who have chosen to challenge themselves academically. But then what happens beyond that? In our specific situation at Yale, the majority of students who are applying each year are very academically qualified. So we can evaluate that pretty quickly and move on and say, well, what else is a student bringing to the table? And that could come in a lot of different forms. We often get asked whether we'd rather have well-rounded students who've been involved in a lot of different activities in high school, or students who have a really specific talent that they've developed to a very high level. The answer is we want a little bit of both of those qualities as we put together a freshman class each year. We want the well-rounded students. We also want the students who are going to bring a particular talent that they've developed. And the honest answer, too, is that we don't always know exactly what we're looking for until we see it. And so my best advice in terms of involvements outside of the classroom is to think about what you truly enjoy doing. That's what's going to make the biggest impact in an application, or the biggest impact when an admissions officer is reading an application. Think about the things you enjoy and pursue those with passion, and spend your time doing those things. There is not one specific recipe that a college may be more interested in student government versus sports versus debate versus band. We're going to be looking for students who've done all of those things. But what really tends to stand out is when we can see in a student's essay or in other parts of their application that they've taken the time that they have outside of the classroom and really chosen to engage with things that are important to them, and then students can convey that with a lot of excitement and passion. So we do want to see that students have chosen to use their time productively outside of the classroom, but it doesn't have to be any one particular recipe. Do the things that you think really are bringing some joy and excitement to your life, and that will play well in this process.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikki Ryan. I'm one of the assistant directors of undergraduate admission at Springfield College. Springfield College is located in Springfield, Massachusetts. For those of you who aren't familiar with Springfield, Massachusetts, we're about an hour and 15 minutes away. We're actually about 30 minutes directly north of Hartford. We're also located in Western Massachusetts, similar to UMass Amherst. We're probably about 45 minutes from their campus or so. Springfield College is a smaller college. We are 2,200 undergrad students and 1,000 graduate students. Our average student-to-teacher ratio at Springfield is about 13:1. Springfield, Massachusetts itself is a city, so we are in a city environment. I always kind of say being at Springfield College is kind of like the best of both worlds. While you have all of the amenities of being within a city, it's a very small neighborhood environment that Springfield College is located in. So you have that small community feel on our campus as well. We do guarantee housing for all 4 years for our undergraduate students. So we are a very residential school. We actually require our students to live on campus for at least their first 3 years. So it actually builds a huge sense of community on campus, which is really great. We have over 40 different clubs and organizations for our students to be involved in. Everything from major specific clubs to special interests to athletics. We also are a Division III school. We do offer 24 varsity sports at the Division III level. Very competitive Division III school. Last year we had 6 teams continue on to national Division III playoffs, and we actually had a female swimmer who won her national title in her event, and our men's volleyball team is the 3-year running national champions in Division III. So we're hoping for a 4th year this year, so everyone root on Springfield College. But we are also, being a Division III school, the great thing is it's very much about being a student athlete. That student piece is always going to be first and foremost, which is really great. Outside of academic or athletics, like I said, we do have many clubs and organizations that a lot of our students are involved in. So we do have a good mix of student athletes and students who are not athletes on campus. Lots to be involved in the visual and performing arts. Community service is a really big piece at Springfield College. We do offer 47 majors and 36 different minors. All of our majors really have a service to others component to them. It really ties back into our mission statement at Springfield, which is to educate students in spirit, mind, and body for leadership and service to humanity. So that service piece is really something that our students are looking to be involved in their careers, and is really important to our students. Being a school of 2,200 undergraduate students and 1,000 graduate students, last year our students actually completed over 100,000 hours of community service. That's a ton of students for a small school. So it's something that's really important to our college community and to Springfield as a whole. One of the points that I was asked to address here today was SAT and ACT scores in the admissions process. At Springfield College, we do require that you submit either your SAT or ACT scores. In looking at the SAT, we're looking at just your math and critical reading components in the SAT. Our average is about a 1080 SAT score. ACT is about a 21. We do super score your SAT, which for those of you, if you're not sure what that means, it means that if you take that test more than once, we take the highest math and the highest critical reading score out of all of the tests that you've taken to give you the highest combined score. Your ACT score, we're just taking your highest overall score from any of the tests that you've taken. If you are below that score, don't worry. It's an average score, so we do have some students that are a little bit above that 1080 math and critical reading score, and a little bit below, so it's totally fine. What we're looking for in your application is a well-rounded student. So we're looking for more than just your academics. We're looking for you to be involved in your community. We're looking for you to be involved outside of school, and other pieces like that as well. Even in looking at just the academic review at Springfield, if we're looking at just your SAT scores and your high school transcript, we're putting about 25% of our weight on your SATs and about 75% on your high school transcript. We recognize that your high school transcript is probably going to be a more accurate reflection of your high school career and your academic abilities. So really don't worry if your SAT score is below that. One of the things that I will say with looking 75% more at your transcript than at your SAT scores is that we really want to see students who are challenging themselves. So if you find in your sophomore, junior year that you've been taking college prep courses so far, you're getting A's and B's in them, really try and challenge yourself with an honors or AP level course. At Springfield, when we're looking at your application and specifically your academic piece in your transcript, we actually do our own recalculation of your high school transcript. So we look at your 5 core courses that you've taken over your 4 years. Your math, your science, your English, your foreign language, and your history or social science courses. And we're actually putting our own weight on those classes. So if you're taking college prep, you're gonna get a specific weight for that. If you're taking honors class, you're gonna get even more weight. So it's gonna play more into that recalculated GPA, and even more so for an AP or college credit course. So it's really important to go ahead and challenge yourself, because even if you're in college prep courses and you're getting an A or a B, if you're in honors courses and you're getting a B or a C, that's actually going to bring your GPA up more because it's holding more weight within that recalculation. So really go ahead and try and challenge yourself to take those more rigorous courses in high school if you feel that you can do so.
Good morning. My name is Chris Anair. I'm a senior admissions officer at UConn. And before I start talking a little bit about UConn, I just would also say that being in the part of the country that you all are, I think you're very fortunate, and we're all very fortunate because there are some very high quality institutions within a reasonable commute. So within 2 hours you have a variety of public and private institutions. But I'll also say, really being in Connecticut, I think you should be proud of the investment that has really gone into higher education across the board, in particularly with public institutions in Connecticut. So whether you're interested in attending one of the local community colleges or the Connecticut State Universities or even UConn, those programs and the things that are offered across the board at all those public institutions are much different than they used to be maybe 5, 10, even 20 years ago. So that said, UConn is a public institution, obviously. I'm sure most of you knew that already, but we are considered the flagship university of the state of Connecticut. So really what that means is UConn is a multi-campus university. So we actually have 6 campuses across the state of Connecticut. So our main campus, of course, is in Storrs, Connecticut. It's the only residential campus of UConn. So if you want to live on campus, the Storrs campus is the only campus that provides on-campus housing. But we do have 5 regional campuses that are scattered throughout Connecticut. The closest ones to us today are up in Torrington and down in Waterbury. Those are, again, commuter campuses, so some students will decide to attend one of those campuses, either complete their entire university degree at one of those campuses, but a majority of students will begin their UConn degree, their course requirements at one of those regional campuses, and then ultimately transition to the Storrs campus, usually for their junior and senior year. The university itself has about 100 majors to choose from, so a lot of exciting and unique things that and certainly things that you may not have been exposed to while you're here in high school. So we do certainly have excellence in majors that deal with agriculture and health and the health professions. We have programs in business, engineering, fine arts. We have a puppetry program, digital media. We have exciting performing arts programs, also nursing, education, pharmacy, and liberal arts and sciences. So there are quite a lot of things to choose from. Certainly some students will come to the university as an undecided student, not yet knowing exactly what you want to pursue at the university, but many students will decide right off the bat when they enter the university exactly what you're pursuing, and that's great. We do have advising offices across the board that will help students, particularly those who are undecided, sort of help you navigate those courses that are required for graduation, and hopefully while taking some of those courses you'll use those classes to decide what you want to pursue in the long run. Other things about UConn, I mentioned some of the investments and things like that that have happened across the board, but some exciting things that are happening now at UConn. UConn is really investing in a lot of our STEM programs. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. So while it's a great and exciting time, if you're just choosing to pursue something other than those areas, there are a lot of new things that are happening in any of those categories. So a lot of our programs in those areas are seeing new improvements in terms of infrastructure. So new laboratory spaces, new academic buildings. We have a new STEM building that's going up on campus, a residential hall for students who are pursuing those majors. A lot of scholarship money that's going into those programs for students who are interested in those areas. And probably just as important, we recognize that you're coming to college not just to have a great experience, but you're also preparing for a career or graduate school after you leave. So there are a lot of exciting programs with internships and trying to build linkages with industry so that while you're an undergraduate student at the university, you have those experiences out there. And when you're going to apply for a job, you've already built linkages in the industry that you're looking to pursue. So we want to make sure you do well at the university in hopes of preparing you the best way possible for your career that you will enter once you leave the university. Some other things I'll talk about, actually let's talk about financial aid. I know we're sort of pressed for time. That was one of the topics that I was asked to talk about. All the colleges and universities are going to have a financial aid process, and just as it is important with the admissions process, it's really, really important to find out what the financial aid process is for each institution, as it most likely will be a little bit different. So any university that's a public institution or private institution for the most part will require that all students complete what's called the FAFSA application. That's the free application for federal student aid. So that basically is a form you fill out, you use your parents' tax return information, and if you're working, the student's information, and the federal government is going to determine what they think you will be able to contribute to your college education. After you've completed that, then our financial aid office will determine what financial aid package we can give you. And that's what's going to be different at every institution. So your estimated family contribution is going to be the same across the board, but the amount of financial aid that we can give you at each individual institution is going to be different. So every college costs a different price, so the financial aid that we're able to give you is going to be a little bit different. So it's important, again, to find out what that process is, find out what those deadlines are. So if you're completing the FAFSA, you cannot complete that until after January 1st of your senior year. But we have a March 1st on-time deadline at UConn, and it may be similar or a little bit different at all these other institutions. If you're planning to attend a private university, they often have what's called a profile form. So essentially it's another financial aid form that's required. It'll ask a few more questions of you, and it's something that will be required of those schools. So again, make sure you know what those deadlines are. Make sure you know what's required. Just as with an application for admission, if you miss a financial aid deadline, you may not get the same amount of aid that would be available to you.
Students, before you begin, please sit down. Okay, I just wanted to take a moment to thank our admission officers for coming, giving their time out of their busy schedule. Do you want to make one comment?
Yes. I neglected to mention the one thing that I was assigned to talk about, which was accommodations and dealing with the procedures required for students who have disabilities. It's vitally important for you and your parents, if you have an IEP in high school, that you get a copy of that, and that when you come to a school, to any school up here, we cannot ask you if you have a disability. Can't even put it on our application form. You must, regardless of the school to which you apply, you must self-identify. So when you do apply, if it turns out that you do have an IEP and you would like to see what accommodations are available, please address the admissions office, and then there's an ADA, American Disability Coordinator, usually at each school, who can then help you with potential accommodations. Okay?
Great, thank you for that thought.
Students, you join me for a final thank you to the admission officers for taking time out of their busy